Oh, dear Lord. There we are.
Look at you dancing.
Look at me. All right, Jenny. Okay. Yes, we did have one for Tuesday, but you know what? And as you made it, I was like, Tuesdays don't really work for her. So we're 100% certain that when you make a Tuesday appointment, it's not going to fly.
Okay, I got to turn your volume up just a sec.
Oh, dear God. That never happens.
Okay, I'm back.
As Evan always says, that's a problem for future Evan. So whenever we make an appointment on Tuesday, we go, oh, yeah, we can make it work. It never works. Okay. So that's great. So moving forward, you just want to focus on the Shadow Blast marketing and do one appointment a week.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm getting a lot of value out of that extra. It's like you're giving a lot and I'm not absorbing fast enough anyway.
No, that's fine. And you know what? The reality is we gave that to you at like
a super deal. There were supposed to be 4 people in the coaching class.
Yeah. And
I figured you'd be relieved.
They just didn't match your energy. So I couldn't put you in with them. I was like, oh, this is not going to fit Jenny. So everybody else pays $2,500 a month now, and you were paying $1,500 for 3 months. So I'm fine.
Okay.
Also, the few things I'd be happy to do this the odd time when we're dealing with Shadow Blast marketing stuff. And where you get struggled, you've got enough foundation now that we can pop over and I can say, do this on Basecamp and it won't take an hour. So we're fine.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Working. Sometimes these don't kick in and I'm like, I think I just have these in my ear and nothing's happening. Okay. So let's take a look at your stuff here. How are you, Jenny?
I'm doing good. And apparently stuff's working because people I haven't talked to in years are calling me.
I know.
So, yeah.
And here's the thing, Jenny. And I know this is hard because I'm doing this right now for my launch as well. Like it's nutso because in one hand, you have to accept that, and this has been my downfall in the past. It's taken me a lot of years. I'm going to teach you, I'm going to save you about 6 years of your life right now because I did this. I don't know how many times people told me, important people, and I would know to listen to them and I didn't. Yes. The relationship building is everything. And I know that, and and I'm a very sincere person in my personal life and all this other stuff. But what happened is you need to cultivate and sustain those relationships. And instead of having 1,000 people on your list, if you've got 100 buyers, who cares if you've got 1,000 on your list, right? But it is super easy to get distracted when you are a goal-focused, admin strong person like yourself and like myself. It's like, oh, I can get a lot of work done. That stuff looks like an interruption to the work.
Right.
And I would rather be here working 2 hours pounding on my computer, and then you're over here and you're like ping-ponging on LinkedIn and you're thinking, oh, dear God, I got to get back to work, right?
Right.
But when you cultivate this properly, then you start to have, it's like watching water start to steam and simmer, and then all of a sudden it's a rolling boil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing, even Evan says it's a joke because we keep going back and forth with emotions for this launch. And he'll say, well, we should videotape them and exchange them when we have our next low, right? So Friday I was really high, and then today I had to take yesterday off because I had to go get a haircut, God help me. And you couldn't say to her after 3 months, do you have Friday night? What's your Saturdays look like, right? So anyhow, so now I'm all worked up again because it's in the middle of the afternoon. I haven't done my social media, and we have a really aggressive, structured social media thing that I have to do now every day. Different lives. I have to go in and comment on at least 75 people on Facebook, 50 on LinkedIn, and do all this stuff. And when I did it Friday afternoon, which I could sort of qualify because I had had a really long week, and so in a way, I feel like I'm just playing around on social media and I'm like kind of doing something with half my brain. And I got such big results on Friday, but then I dive back into what I perceive to be a Monday. And I think I got to get to work. I have time for that. Right. And here's the thing. This is where the money is, because these people not only will come into your Like when they're in your list and they're invested in you and they like you and everyone thinks they know you and they're connected to you, then they come to your Freedom Fridays, then they sign up for your courses, then they, like the money just comes from all different places.
Mhm.
There's people I admire where at some point, I swear to God, I'm almost like looking for a reason to buy. Like, I love these guys. I wish there's something else I could buy from them. You know what I mean? They just
Right.
like being in your sphere. They like being in your energy. They want to say they know you. So it's really, really hard, but that is the work, right?
Right. Right.
And it's also super easy to get all excited when you start to get some momentum going with LinkedIn, and you almost feel like, oh, I got enough, I can barely keep up. And so then you go pull back a bit and start doing your work a bit because you're like, oh, I'm good, this is good. But there is no such a thing as good. You can't have too much money. So then you go back to feast or famine, and then in 6 weeks you're complaining, getting all upset again, going, oh my gosh, it's petering out because you didn't sustain it.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Right? So these are painful lessons to learn. It's taken me years to learn this, and it's super hard.
And I
But
think that's why Freedom Friday is working for me, even though it's somewhat overwhelming because I feel behind.
yes.
Doing it is not painful. And the idea that I can get somebody else to help me do the back end is the first time I've had something where I could actually, I don't have to run the whole thing. I just have to do the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just really hard. It's really important to keep that in mind because we are building something. Your academy is adding up with all the things that we gave you, stuff like that. There's a lot happening. And the sad thing is, like anything, I don't know where you are in the world, but mind you, it's really cold today. But last week I was on my bike ride, and all of a sudden I found it fascinating. Like I went on a bike ride Tuesday night, and there was barren trees and ground that was brown. And then, like the cartoons, the earth just flipped over. And I went out the next morning because it was a beautiful day. And I'm like, there was billowing trees with shrub, like canopy that I was driving through on the trails.
Yeah.
And I was like going, what happened in 7 hours? Like all of a sudden it was like a movie set came in, and there was luscious shrubbery and the grass was brilliantly green. So then you think, well, how did that happen overnight? Well, clearly it didn't. It happened in the last 6 months. You know what I mean? And all of a
Hmm.
sudden they just hit the go button and we're good
Right.
to go. But it's shocking. You think, well, so that's what's going to happen is it is accumulating, but you can't drop it because you think, oh, well, this is good enough or whatever. Like you're building something, and you've got to keep that part of your regular diet, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, so the book we have done, and we have the funnel almost ready. I wanted to remember, what is the funnel? Where are they coming into this for the book to get the book chapter?
Excellent question. I feel like what we want to do with Freedom Friday is there were 30 something people on the mailing list. I don't know how many are on there now. And we need to be doing something for the people that are coming to Friday to engage them further.
Okay.
And the other thing is they only sign up when they sign up. They receive a confirmation email that day, and one 3 or 4 days later. But I don't think there's a process where they get notified of the upcoming Freedom Friday. What I do have with this thing I call Active Campaign is I add them to my main mailing list, and they're getting a weekly, here's the next one. And then I've got a woman working with me named Sapna Doshi that did my video, and she created a sizzle reel, and she's created some other things. And so she has some ideas on what else to do. And at some point, we probably ought to get her on the phone because I think she can implement some of these things. But it's like wanting to have something that Sapna could help me implement that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
Instead of me telling her one thing and not coordinating with you, and it's a total waste of time for both parties.
So I just sent Evan a link to hop on the call because what I want to make sure is, which isn't a problem now, we can do anything you want to do, but it's a problem. You're creating a problem further down, is having two systems, because then you have to manually push two systems. So I think with ours, if I'm gonna speak loosely, and Evan can correct me when he hops on the call. Let me just make sure you got that. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I almost think that the people that come to Freedom Friday, I could get an Excel spreadsheet and upload them once a week to my other list.
So the one we have right now is what happens. There's a couple opportunities for you. So one is when they opt in, what they're put in a formula, and what happens is they're given with it. Do you have to answer text?
I'm just writing down formula is the word.
Okay. So what happens is when they come in, we have a formula that says, okay, within the first 24 hours, they get this welcome email, because we don't want it to be like if they come in on a Monday, emails go out on Monday, that they have to wait to the next Monday.
Makes
So
sense.
they have a formula where you go, okay, you're onboarding, we call it. You get it within the first 24 hours, and then you get a reminder like 48 hours, but the 48 hours might be Wednesday or Thursday. Now, we could send out an email once a week for you and say, here's who's coming this week, if you give us the content and you keep it short and sweet, because then otherwise we're getting into writing a whole new email, right? But if you say, here's the next 4, and we make a simple email and a template, and you say, here's the blurbs I want, Chris, I then could push out to that list every whatever day you want and say, here's next week's, because we're going to have a template. I just got to change the name and the dates. And then we go in and they get that. And then they get that so they know who's this week's coming up. But it wouldn't be, we want to keep it simple, because otherwise, you know, you're not going to want to get into that marketing thing. And it's not like, it's a whole thing on its own, right?
Well, so this active campaign that I've got, Supna I gave her access to it.
Yeah.
And let me just show you what it is.
Well, it doesn't matter what it is. It just matters. It really just doesn't matter, because what the question is, you want to pick one. That's all. Well, you don't have to pick one. You're just going to have, you could just end up doing double the work. You've got 2 systems going in 2 different directions.
Right. So let me just show you what the one
Sure.
I've got that went out today. Okay, so I just sent you an email of it. So this active campaign, I figured out enough about how to add people to a campaign and send the email.
Okay.
And what I would be able to do, so, and I think I've got my email scheduled through next week. And then my plan was to go through the list of people that are pending and set up the next 4 weeks of emails.
So again, what happens is this, because it doesn't matter. So here's what I want you to, am I sharing my screen? Am I sharing my screen? Okay. So let me just pick a blank. No, it's on now. We are on now. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind.
Because I could bring them into active campaign as a list that is marked as Freedom Friday from the other, and then they would get that weekly. They'd get the first one from you and the second confirmation from you. And after that, they'd come to my list.
Yeah. So you could do that. Hold on one second.
Because there's not a way for you to take over. I'm sending a newsletter and then I'm sending some weekly stuff.
Okay. So here's the logistics. I just want us to be aware of it. I don't have any investment. I'm not here to give you one way or the other. I'm just wanting you to think. Okay. So logistically, what happens is we have the ability, which we did not have before. Do we want to always have the ability to get them to come into a funnel? Okay. So you can see my screen, right?
No, I can't see it yet.
Oh, sorry. I'm drawing around like a fool here. Hold on. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen then. Oh, here we go. I did it 10 minutes ago. Okay. Okay. So the big part of what we have that's working for us is we have the ability to get people to opt in. Anything we do, we get them to opt in because we want them on that list. That list is worth money. So whether we give them a free chapter as a gift, whether we say, here's the webinar, whatever we do, we say, here it is. I mean, we want you to opt in. Whereas before you were sending them emails, you weren't retaining it. So we can manage that list, and we can also tell you from that list how many people opt in to whatever Freedom Fridays, to your book. We can look at stuff and we can tell you what the open rate is on all that stuff, which is super awesome. Because then maybe, let's say 3 months down the road, you might be doing whatever. You don't know. Really quickly, you might have to do something on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then you can tell who signed up for Fridays, who signed up for Wednesdays. Perfect. When we get that list, as they add to that list, we could, if it serves you, constantly give you updated lists that you can then do emails for. That's fine. We could do that. What we want you to understand, though, is this thing that we're doing with the opt-ins does collect lists. In my case, I collect lists and then I send out an email once a week. If you gave us the content and said, here's the formula, we could put it in there for you and push out an email to that list. If it's pre-done, we're fine with that. So the really two important pieces, however you do it, is you have an opt-in, because you can always make something new, and whatever in the world you give away, there's no reason in the world to give it away without something in return, which is email. That's money. So we can do that, and then that list continues to grow. If you want a weekly update with that list and you can do it and you're comfortable at this point doing it in your own email platform, that's fine by us. I just want to make sure you don't start doing things that get disjointed in two separate and parallel lands. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that is a concern of mine. But I also feel like I don't think that I can, on a timely basis, send the stuff up to you to do the future email series. Like today, the guy called and he said, or that I was supposed to have on Friday, said his wife's having shoulder surgery. I was able to go in and at least edit. I didn't get it right, but I at least edited the email before it went out this morning to change the people that were on it.
Well, here's the thing too, Jenny, everything is a work in progress. And this is a really great part about where we're at. And I think you're a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more trusting about this whole process now, whereas before you saw it in its entirety. So what I would tell you is we don't have to be all or nothing. So we can decide for right now where we're at. Like, let us back up for a second, and I'm not tooting my own horn. But what I would say to you is this funnel thing has changed everything for you. The funnel, the ability to get people to opt in, is what's growing the list. So under no circumstances, it would just be like marketing suicide to stop using that funnel and just think, oh, what happens in the past is you saw this list as a vital thing, but it's dead if you're not adding to it, right? So the funnel part is huge. It is the marketing machine. Then how you keep that list nurtured and warm is a second aspect of marketing. But for now, we can say, you know what, once a week, whatever, we will send Jenny an updated list, and so she can send out her email. We can always change what that looks like 3 months down the road, 6 weeks down the road, if that gives you the ability, because all we are interested in, especially in marketing, is we're looking for progress, not perfection. So if we can say, look, we can keep moving you forward, and then all of a sudden this is getting too big, or we need to send out an email, whatever, for different variations, we now need to combine that and do it more effectively. We can worry about that later.
Okay, well, so, I can see doing it multiple ways. The question is, of the people, if we want to nurture the people that signed up for Freedom Fridays, obviously they found me on LinkedIn, they can continue to follow on LinkedIn. The email that comes into theirs, if we created a series of emails that comes off the list that you guys are managing, we'd have different measures. And we'd want to set up something where you could send out something that is, here's a copy of the growth model or something like that.
I didn't understand. Was there a question in there?
Well, let's pretend that Freedom Friday, if they show up for that list, that they could show up for future Freedom Fridays just on their own initiative, and we could have in that email, in a weekly email that goes out, instead of being specific about who's on this week's, just say, don't miss this week's Freedom Friday. So that you guys don't have to maintaining that.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't usually.
Okay. But the question is, what do we want them to understand about? We're doing Freedom Friday to let people know that there's a GovCon community and that I've got a chapter in a book. They can order the book. You know, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to think of is, could we create a meaningful email series on the people that come to Freedom Friday talking about whether they need to know something about federal contracting or what their interests might be?
So now we're
Because,
talking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, because on the list that I've got, I'm sending to people that I physically have met or that have signed up for this Tampa Bay newsletter. And what we're trying to do in working together is you tell me how to speak and send the people that are coming to the Freedom Friday sign up list how to sell them on future offerings by Jenny Clark through Solvability, whether it's offerings of the Academy or the chapter of the book or what, because I've got all the content. And I will fail if I think that I'm going to build that content out with SEPNA inside my own Solvability Active Campaign portal, because it would make more sense to let you use your marketing knowledge, figure out what should go out, let you guys track what's working or not working so that yours is like the pilot. And once we see what's working on that, then I could apply it to my other list, or I could upload my people to the Freedom Friday list.
Yeah, so I think you make up a lot of really good points. And what happens is there's a lot of pieces to marketing. So at first, here's the first part. We were just so friggin' excited anyone showed up. And then we started taking a look and we said, oh my gosh, you've got growth. Even when you go from 5 people to 8 people to 13 people, that's growth, right? Like that's a big growth.
Well, now we're down to about 5, but that's okay.
So now we're down to about 5. So what we want to look at is, what I would say to you is, you're doing really good because you don't need to see the whole picture at one time, and you're starting to look how things plug in. If I were you, to pull you back, we've got some basic things in there with the email campaign and stuff like that. What I would really do is, I looked at your slideshow once and looked at your video presentation, and I gave you some tips. Really, if I were you, what I would like to focus on is, I'd say, let's look at your Freedom Friday. What we need to keep doing is maximizing what you're doing within that hour, because we want your retention rate to be there and we want your growth to be there. And that comes from your messaging within it, how you navigate it, how you go back and forth, how you drop value bombs, how you give them hooks at the beginning, the end, why they need to say, oh, we got something special at the end. You got to stay tuned. I'm going to give you guys who've been here 3 weeks in a row a gift. So make sure you stay to the end. So there's a lot of marketing messaging that goes in within that hour. So I think what's happening, especially now where people are going to start having less time, is when things start unfolding, is I think we need to be more purposeful about your presentation and marketing messaging within that hour, because we also don't want to be doing this free for a year. So we need to start saying, okay, what's the keywords we can use? What's the slideshow we can use at the end? How do we tighten that? You really are doing a presentation once a week. And I want you to get better at that presentation so that we can then sell a $50 item, a $500 item, like keep moving on. So really the basics are there. They're getting the emails. You're working LinkedIn. Those things had to be there to get anyone to show up. So we can keep those things on simmer and keep working it and keep doing the stuff that you've been, you haven't heard from somebody in years and years. Great. You can't drop the ball on that. You got to keep that going. Now I would go inside that hour, and there's one guy, one of my mentors, who says you do a free webinar every week until you make $1 million, because until you make that $1 million, you have room for improvement. So you went from nothing to having attendance, and I gave you some tips because we had so many other things happening. I would like our focus to be on within that hour, because that will change your messaging online with LinkedIn, with one-on-one appointments, with the retention rate you have in that webinar, and your future sales.
Yeah, but the people that are calling me aren't calling me because they attended the webinar.
No, but we want to I'm just saying that what I'm saying with that part, your LinkedIn stuff and everything you're doing, your networking is working.
My networking is working, but the people that are calling me are not calling me at all related to attending my webinar or anything. It's that the webinar is an excuse to call out to people that know other people inside the community. So it's like I'm one of the few people that shows up as knowing something about federal contracting small business. It honestly doesn't matter what I'm doing in the webinar. And I'm not formatting it that way to do it. What I'm formatting it for is to get content so that I could post more articles and talk more as a thought leader. I'm not, yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't see myself able to make that event itself be the value. And I've got other people in the same space that said, yeah, we do a webinar every Friday, but nobody attends. We actually just started recording it. Nobody actually shows up, but they come and watch the content later on YouTube.
Okay. So regardless, those marketing, what I would say to you, whether you're going to do it so that it's taped and they watch it later, whether you're, whatever it is you're going to do within that hour, it's still Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. Whatever we just have that tool to work with because we can see you doing it. So you can tell me after you hung up on a call with somebody what you said and how it went, and that's your interpretation of it. What I would use is I would use that hour, Freedom Fridays, as a vehicle to really nail down and master your marketing message. Whether it's because once you do that, you can transfer those skills to your GovCon, to your one-on-one calls with clients, to whatever. So you have an opportunity because your marketing muscles are really expanding and you see that. So whether I take a look and say, well, the Freedom Friday is free, and let's say you just say, well, no, Chris, what I'm looking at, my end goal is for it to be a networking thing. And for me to have a reason to reach out to high profile people so that I can connect with them, and I never want to charge for it. Okay, fine. But you'll still be charging for some offspring of it somewhere, or else you're a community center. So I would use that as a marketing exercise tool to enhance all other aspects of your business.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's a 30-minute webinar and the speaker talks for 15 minutes of that. And I do agree that I can get better at that, but I don't agree that spending my effort on trying to make it better is the trick. What I need to be spending the time on is making my upfront promotion and my post promotion of the fact that I've got the secret sauce for federal contracting on LinkedIn, and that they want to be following my posts on LinkedIn, following what I do, and hearing from other people saying, hey, Jenny's great, you ought to call her.
I think we're agreeing and we're just using different language. That's exactly what I'm saying. So you're saying, well, I don't want to contain it to the hour. And that's fine. Post the webinar, whatever. It's your pre and post messaging, whether it's inside the webinar or whether it's on LinkedIn, on both ends of that. We just need that messaging to be tightened up. So, and also at the end of the day, it's your show. We're here to support you. We're here to give you best practices. But if you say, well, this is what I want to do, we'll do that. But I think we're also agreeing, and I think
Yeah.
you're hearing
Well,
something.
so it's like I'm still struggling to get the rhythm down of pre and post production and get the checklist down. And that's where I want to focus my time
Okay.
for the next several weeks to get it to the point where I can have an admin
Okay.
to assist me with that. And like Descript, I opened it up. I went on it for a little bit, but I haven't completed a single session of, okay, I'm using this for the first time and getting it to work. But I think that that's the step for me to be working on. Not worried about making the content of the webinar itself better, learning the mechanics of pre and post production.
Yeah.
And
So
keeping it alive.
So when I talk about, just so you understand the difference, when I talk about inside the webinar, it's not about making it better. That pre and post production you're talking about is really, in my mind, the same thing within the webinar. It's managing the information so that you do look like the influencer, the go-to gal. So it's different things like, if something is simple, here's a powerful statement. You want to write this down. What this means for you is, so little things like when you're introducing somebody and they say something profound, like if when you, no matter how simple your message, when you say to someone, what this means for you is, You can apply for government funding and know that you have a recipe that's going to succeed. Like whatever your language is, I don't know what you really do, right? So I'm just saying what this means for you is, and then you fill in the blanks. So when I talk about improving the webinar, I'm not talking about you getting better presentation skills or prettier fonts or you're razzmatazing a better host with the guest. I'm talking about marketing language throughout it so that at the end of the day, you're right. Let's say if you have a guest for 5 minutes and you only talk 7, it's like Johnny Carson or whoever is on TV now. Hello, I sound like I'm 80. It's whoever you remember Johnny Carson, not the
It used to
guest.
be Jay Leno. Now I
Yeah.
don't know who it is. Is it Jimmy Fallon? I'm not sure.
So you remember him and not the guest, even though, he had this he just does the interview. Same with Oprah. They just do the smaller pieces, but because they weave it in and out, they're the star, right? So, so my goal for you is exactly what your goal is. I want you to be the influencer, and there is a dance and messaging in that, even when you're saying nothing. So you might be summarizing the really great guests you have and say, guys, I hope you got all I'm here. I wrote down, I got pages of notes because he made some really good points. I've been doing this a really long time and I've been exposed to some really amazing mentors. And I just want to go over what Steve said here, because what this means for you is, so you would be the hook at the end of, man, Jenny's the gal that knows the guy, right? So those are the things I want to teach you for pre, post, and during production. And those are marketing messages that will retain anything you do, and kind of like a really good bread with a sandwich. Like, it doesn't matter what's in the middle if the bread's good enough, right? So I'm in agreement on everything you're saying. I'm not talking about making it a better presentation. I'm talking about you being the influencer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we have people that are on let's just call it the Freedom Friday mailing list, which is the one that is up on ClickFunnels. And what simple method could we use for you guys to create funnels so that those people are receiving whatever pre and post activity that they should? Because right now my pre and post activity I'm doing on LinkedIn, and if they're not looking for me on LinkedIn or they're not engaging with me on LinkedIn, I'm not really pulling them in the way that I want to.
Well, also you become dependent. LinkedIn is a really great tool, but we also can't be dependent. Like if something happened to your LinkedIn relationship.
Well, I'm not planning on anything happening to my LinkedIn relationship, but I see that as a much easier, better platform for me to be using as a one-person company than trying to cultivate all this other stuff. Because I'm not out on LinkedIn just talking about Jenny Clark. I'm out there making comments about other stuff that's going on in the world, and people are seeing me do that.
I agree 100%. What I'm saying though, this is really important. Let's say you have 10 points of contact, and let's say 9 of them are going to be on LinkedIn and 1 will be email once a week. We still want to make sure we have that, because if LinkedIn changes their algorithm, like I got kicked off Instagram, I had to start a whole new thing just because I don't know. And I never did find out because I didn't get to speak to someone at head office. I actually think LinkedIn is way better than that, but things happen or whatever, they change your algorithms, whatever. So I'm all about social media. We started the call talking about that. It's hugely important. It's networking. It's sit in your pajama bottoms, network, where you used to have to go to friggin' lunches and go, damn, I stepped beside the wrong guy today. So it's all about networking. It's amazing. As long as you just have that one email, so that if something happens or you haven't heard from them, you can reach out to them, so that you own a piece of your property versus LinkedIn owns everything, right? So I do agree you should be out, because also what's really great about LinkedIn or other platforms like that is if you have a conversation with someone, you have an audience. So somebody going by is going to go, oh, I didn't know Jenny did that, versus an email is one-on-one. So LinkedIn is powerful. I think you're doing great there. I encouraged you to go there. We're doing awesome. Just as long as we have 10% of that relationship, we have, it's like having their phone number. We just need to, their email address is their new phone number. As long as we have their email address, I'm fine with the biggest bulk of your stuff being on LinkedIn, as long as if they move and they change their name or they get kicked off LinkedIn, we can still email them.
Well, so going back to the Freedom Friday mailing list, which last time I checked had 38 something people, I think you told me. What nurturing email can we send out weekly to that list so that we keep building it?
Okay, so you could send us an email and you can say, here's the guy, here's the name. Like if it doesn't have to be pretty. You can say, here's the name, and here's what he's known for. Like if you just give us a blurb, we can copy and paste it and I can put some marketing in it so that
Okay.
it's got a hook and be some umph. As long as, like, here's the thing, it's going to be fast and furious every week. So you can't be like, oh my gosh, at the bottom I would, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a quick flyer. So like, we're not going to be sloppy about it, but no, we're doing this. I don't want to hear at the teeny bottom, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like as long as you're free flowing with this, right? So if you say, here's the guy, here's the blurb, here's what I want to say, and you keep it short, then we can send out that email. I'll do that for you and say, oh, here's the hook. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's why you got to go in this week. So we can take your meats and just arrange it on the plate and send out a broadcast every
Well,
week.
I think that makes sense because you had me do a Google sheet of upcomings, and I can put columns on that Google sheet. So I have that. And then I can, when I do a series of 4, I could send the same thing up to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in my Google sheet, I do have, here's their LinkedIn, here's their different things. And I need to be getting ahead of the game to do that. And I'm thinking if I did each series 4 to 5 weeks ahead, then that should work. And if people switch on me at the last minute, they switch on me at the last minute. And I just go, oh, well, our guest couldn't make it. Just like when Johnny Carson would bump the last guest.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. And I think what's happening is you are growing a lot of talent and a lot of different in views. And I think what's happening right now, this call right here, is you're flipping between the aerial view and you're up in the helicopter and now your face is in the soil looking for the strawberries that haven't grown yet. And you're flipping back and forth so that nothing's off track. The message is still the same. I think what you're doing here is more important than Freedom Fridays. I may say to you, hey, 6 months down the road, we want to, if not be selling them something, and we may be selling them something, or we may be selling them nothing, and this may be a gateway to something else. We don't know. But what you're doing right now, more than anything, is you are building a tribe. And with a tribe means you can become an influencer. Being an influencer means you can sell them stuff because you're an authority.
Well, we've got that chapter, and we've got a wrap rate calculator.
Mm-hmm.
And the question becomes, so I can, obviously I can do this Freedom Friday and do what we just talked about. And we have the Academy. What are you thinking we're going to do with the Academy that we could be moving people toward? Because as you remember, I've got a huge list of content that I'm not doing anything with.
Well, so this is where we go off in different things. So I agree with you. Like, one of the biggest things I learned with my podcast in the last 6 months, I came into it for this reason and I'm getting this out of it. And one of the biggest things I found shocking and interesting is it does give me a reason to reach out to someone that, like, this whole, do you want to have a virtual coffee and see if we want to collaborate? Are you freaking kidding me? I didn't have time to pee in the last 2 hours. Like, nothing makes me angrier. No, what do you want? Right.
Right.
But if I reach out to someone and say, hey, I'd love to have you on my show, and then all of a sudden they're on my show and I realize that they are smart, or we did click, and then I realize, oh, okay, I should learn from them, or do, like, all of a sudden there's a reason for us to connect or work together, or now there's a reason for me to be on their show. Like, it sustains the business relationship. I've now started a relationship with them versus I want to have a virtual coffee. So I do find that really would be the same for you. What you're creating is a hub for your industry, right?
Right.
So then what we can do is we can be testing to that audience right now and seeing what they like. Right now, the first and the biggest reason I'll let you do your text. Go ahead.
I'm writing down
Oh, you're right
creating a
now.
hub for
Okay.
the industry.
Right now, the biggest thing we want is just to be testing things to that audience. So you can say at the end of the thing, you know what, guys? We're just coming out of this pandemic, and it gave me some extra time, and I started realizing it all these assets that I had all over my computer. So what I did is I just cleaned them all up and put them in one spot, right? And this is the marketing messaging that I keep wanting to talk to you about in that hour. It's learning how to sell things so that you can change that language 6 months down the road. It'd be something else, but you can say to them, guys, I just collected a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it I forgot I had, or honestly, I forgot how much people loved it. So I made this little academy. It's like a little jewel box for you guys, full of riches. I'm going to give it to you. And there's stuff that we still charge for there, but you guys have been coming, and you just got to log in and you get yourself some goodies. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when I
Okay,
say
that makes sense.
making it better. Then we can test. We can see who goes over. We can see, do they need a link? We can see which ones they opt into. And then all of a sudden, you know, all these little things we add on, which are marketing hooks and marketing messaging, that might tell us, you know, 3 months down the road, everybody doesn't love the wraparound thing like you thought they did. They love this other silly thing that you didn't see coming. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's not
right.
about the big picture. It's about the little adjustments we make every week. You'll be shocked how much they will change everything for you.
Okay, yeah, this sounds like the right way to go. So my mission out of this is I need to continue my pre and post production. I'm getting ready to go into the list where I've finished these people and I'm starting a new set. I need to get as much of that as possible lined up so I can send you guys the future emails to send out. And then that could be the same future emails that I use for our marketing to the list we've been working on. And it's like we've got two email lists, one from my people I've been nurturing or begging to join me for years, and the other ones that said they've raised their hands and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in this.
Yes, I'm making
Okay, gotcha.
And this is the stuff, like I just said to you, about how to sell that every week. This is the stuff where I'd say, you know what? I'm just throwing my time in your hands saying, look, send me your webinar every 2 weeks. I'll watch it. And one little thing, like you have to think about $1 million company. Neither one of us have one, but $1 million company will be so
I thought
excited.
you did, Chris. I was counting on that.
I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. What will happen is they'll be so excited about a 0.333% because all of a sudden it brings them so much more money, right?
Right.
And so what happens is you and I, sometimes a regular person doesn't look at something and go, okay, instead of going from whatever five, like going, well, that's a 15% increase. You're going, well, it's only 2 people. Like, you know what I mean? So we have to look at what I'm telling you in these calls where I say, well, send me the video, I'll watch it. If we make minor adjustments, all of a sudden you've got messaging that translates in everything that you do and starts bringing in bigger and bigger revenue. Like you can't go from here to here. You have to go. So that's when I say about making the webinars better. It's about your messaging.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm just going to put that in here. Because it will change your videos. It will change everything. Just like I did in the beginning with your videos. And you're great. You really are. But like I, in this last year, have spent an insane amount of money on improving my marketing, like so that I have more for me to teach you. So what I'm telling you is it's you now have your marketing goggles on that you didn't before. You were just an overwhelm. But there's so much more we can do with that. So these little things I'm diving into, what happens is you go back into results, Jenny, and you want to see papers moved. And I'm like, okay, I'm all about that. But this part isn't really done yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is there have been people that have been calling me and they want to chat about something like exactly what you were talking about. And I sent some of them links to the Amazon book.
Yeah.
And suggested that they read it down. So I'm giving them homework they need to do before we get on another call.
Yeah. Because then you can see, yes.
Because if they're not willing to do that, it's like, okay, I know that I'm just going to waste 30 minutes with you because you really aren't going to do anything.
And what happens too, 2 things happen. One is your marketing messaging is getting stronger. So you can now, you don't have to be reactive and be a victim. So you can start going, look, I've got 10 people interested in me and you are going to waste my time. I need the people that are going to step forward. Like that's the way I am. Like if you don't show up all in, I'm not doing it. Like
Right.
if you got overwhelmed at times, I'll drag your ass. I'll get you to the GovCon because I knew you cared and you're trying and you're something and falling, but you were trying. And other people, I just hear the words that they're using, and I'm like, like I will go hungry before I'll work with someone that they're not getting what I'm doing, and so therefore I become the person to blame. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just not fun. It's not fun.
Right.
So what happens is now because you have you can see more clearly with your marketing. It will also allow you to see your prospects more clearly, and so you'll be able to pre-qualify them
Mhm.
because also you have more to offer.
Right.
Like you're a bigger deal than you were a year ago. And so
Right.
now you're going to attract that bigger dealness when everybody starts to associate you with all the elbows that you're rubbing. You know, they're going to associate you with these certain people on this certain level. So they have to rise up to get to work with you. And they're going to
Right.
expect a certain price point, and they're going to expect to do more of the work. Whereas
Right.
before, when we all smell or a whiff of desperation, you attract people that don't appreciate you and sort of kick you around a bit.
Mhm.
Right. So all this underlining stuff is the marketing messaging, like the trees and the lawn I was talking about there. Some weeks it's going to feel like, I walked away from Chris. Well, what am I going to do this week? Like, because some weeks when in the beginning, when everything was such a train wreck, you saw big things happen really quickly because we had to go in and do a triage and get the car and the bodies out. Right. So you're like, okay, it cleared up. But then when you're in physiotherapy 6 months later, now you can stand on one foot for 2 minutes when you couldn't last week. That doesn't seem so dramatic,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
So what I want to tell you is we're on the right path. Don't get attached to big empty results. Know that we're building you as an influencer, and the messaging is hugely important. And I think we should focus on that in the hour you got there, and then the emails pre and post.
Okay. Well, it sounds like what I need to have ready by the time we meet next week is here's here's the people and everything else, so that we can review it, make sure that I provide information y'all need, and then we go with that as our nurturing email for the Freedom Friday people list.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
back to our original question. Where is the book coming in? Who are you giving the book to?
Oh, it's a book that I wrote a chapter for.
No, I know what it is, but where is it you want to,
Well, I don't think we've decided that.
that's what I'm asking.
What I've been doing is telling people to go to Amazon and download the whole book because they need the whole book.
Yeah.
And that my chapter's in there. And my thought with that is for them to realize, hey, I'm telling them about a secret formula that they wouldn't have known unless they talk to me. And oh, by the way, if they read mine, I've got these 10 benchmarking things. And if they're not ready to talk to me either.
So do you want the book to be a pre-qualifier or a gift?
I feel like the chapter of the book, I would like it that they have to somehow opt in so we know that they did that.
Yeah.
And then get a copy. And I don't see why we shouldn't make it a gift.
Okay. And okay, so what's the value? Okay, it's free gift for you. Tell me what's so exciting about your chapter again.
It's a story of how GovCons grow.
Okay, the behind the scenes secret of how GovCons grow. GovCon is a well-known, it's not just
Yeah.
you, right? Okay. Opt in. Oh. Secret, behind the scenes secret of how GovCons grow. Learn. What did you say, the 10 benchmarks?
I've got, I think I've got 20 benchmarks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chapter. Yeah, I've got 20 benchmarks of what they need to do. And they need to read through that list and identify where they are.
So moving forward, may I give you a tip? Whenever you have numbers, always make them odd.
Oh, okay.
17, 27, never 25 or 30 or anything like that.
Okay.
So get the top 20 benchmarks for what?
For growing your business, for small business growth in federal contracting.
For small business growth, federal contracting. Okay, so I'm going to say the behind the scenes secret of how GovCons grow. Get the top 20 benchmarks for small business growth and federal contracting. Boom. That sound good?
Exactly.
There you go. So can you see the difference there? We got something, we had it. And instead of why are we giving it to them? And then the language we're going to give it to them really pre-frames it.
Right. And I feel like if they would go and they get the download and they read the benchmarks, I'm willing to get on a free call with them to go over their benchmarks. And I think that that would be a good way to do it. Because then I'm qualifying people. They read the book, they realized, oh my gosh, these are things I should know about. I know nothing about it. How do I get in to work with Jenny? And the idea would be to get those people that want to, that understand that they need to meet those qualifications into a group coaching program.
So we could make that part of the thank you page. When the thank you comes up, we could have something like, once you've read this, we have our super free gift, limited time only, because read quickly, is you can get on a consult call with Jenny. Sound good?
Sure.
Because we can take it down anytime. We'll say limited, spaces are limited. Let's call once read, limited time only. Okay. So now we're giving them a free chapter, and now they've read it, and now they're being like, you will not be allowed on the call till you've read it. So then you've pre-framed them and given them some homework, right? And now when they show up, they're primed and ready. You don't have to start from zero, and you know that they're an action taker.
Well, the other thing is we don't have to do one-on-one calls. I could invite them to a monthly webinar where I go over the benchmarks.
100%. You can say, oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. Our next call is on the 17th.
Perfect.
Can you see now all these little, right? Yeah. Perfect. And I love Jenny, how you're thinking instead of going, oh, I got a potential new call. Okay, hold on, everybody calm down. Our next call is on the 17th. And if you don't have enough people, then you just say, you know what, today's your lucky day, because a bunch of things happen. So it's just going to be me and you. So boy, you really got lucky. Let's dive in.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Right. So again, these things I'm giving you, these language pieces, I'm not kidding you, Jenny. They've taken me years and years and like no less than $40,000 to learn. The sad thing about marketing is the more simple it is, the more expensive and more painful it was to learn. Like everyone looks at Apple and says, oh, great, iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That sounds so simple. That might have cost them $17 million to come up with that slogan. So
Right.
these little nuances I'm giving you sound really simple when I'm giving you, but I'm saving you. Like, you can have the best product in the whole world, but without your right marketing message, it doesn't matter. Right.
Right. Well, and that's why we're working together. So
yeah,
I think we made progress on this call.
Okay.
And I don't think we need to meet tomorrow, so you can have tomorrow's hour back.
Okay. So moving forward, just doing Shadow Blast. So then next week we can meet Wednesday. Can you do at 3 p.m.?
Wednesday, June the 3rd?
No.
Oh, that's today.
The 9th, the 10th.
Yeah, hang on. Yes.
Okay, so 3 p.m. Jenny. Sorry. Yeah, 3 p.m. Jenny. And you're still in Eastern Standard Time, right?
Yeah, still Eastern.
Okay. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, I will add those things to your everything was ready to go. We just didn't have the language. So I'll get your funnel up for the book with the language we just agreed upon. And you're going to get the stuff organized so that we can send out broadcasts about the list.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect.
Good
job.
Thank you. All right, Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Hello. Are you on the Mac?
I can be.
Okay, call me back.
There you go.
Okay. First of all, I got my first reply to the Kijiji.
Oh, okay.
So I'll wait.
That's fast.
Well, it usually is. I'll wait overnight to see what I get. And so, because this first guy said, "How about $300 labor?" So I don't even know what a good price is, and also I don't know what experience he has, so I don't know. And yeah, so I'll leave that open. Okay. No, Jenny was fine. Where's your video?
It's coming.
Oh, Jenny was fine. What happened? Anyhow, whatever. So she says she's got enough to win the hour right now, which is fine by me because she was supposed to be in a group call because anybody else I'm charging for win the hour, Michelle, the new one, I'm charging $2,200 a month for it. Jenny, I charged $1,500 for 3 months because it was the first person I ever got. So I was like, oh my gosh, right? So anyhow, I found that what we end up doing is a lot of marketing stuff in that second hour. So she's really getting more marketing time, and the 2 appointments are draining me. So she says, I think I got enough of that now. Great. So don't worry about that. That worked out better for me. Hold on. Jenny, 4 p.m. 3. I have to delete that one. Sorry. Hold on. So anyhow, then we were just going over some things and there was some confusion about, and whatever, you don't need to know where the confusion was. So I was going to get you on to explain it, but we sorted it out. So it was fine.
Oh, okay.
So, I want to stop saying, here I have, just going to give this to you now because I've got the language for her funnel. I'm going
Oh, okay.
to put that in there before I forget it. Gosh, these days are long. It's only 4 o'clock. Okay, Jenny. Let's find Jenny. Jenny Clark. Okay. So amazed.
It's the first one there. No. Oh, sorry.
I should start a new one, don't you think?
Well, it's right below. Two down. No. It's go back. Like the.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go. So let's do this. Okay. Wish I could see it though. Normally I have it up here, the example. Okay. Whatever.
Oh, I think it's in another to do that you have. I think it's this is content.
Okay. Let me go back here.
Guess not.
I did used to have it in there.
Yeah. Is it maybe under like split testing, create a variation? Change copy. I'm just looking for ones that have notes.
Oh.
So right, split test. Yeah.
I don't see it. Oh, here, start split test.
No. Create variation, change copy. Below split test, funnel / marketing.
I don't see it, Evan. I don't know. Sorry, which one?
It's the first one under that.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Super. This stuff makes me nuts because now I have to go back and find it somewhere else. Okay, let's go back here. Toolkit. Okay, create copy. Oh, here we go. Create copy. Make sure I put that everywhere. Okay, create copy. Create copy, add content, create cover, create copy, prep work. Why is it down here again? Why is it here? It wasn't in the other one.
I'm not sure.
Okay, it's friggin' everywhere. So I guess, I don't know. You just got the lucky one to push my nerves the wrong way. Okay. Let's go in here. Jenny. Okay. Maybe because let's do this. Let me just pull that up. This is painful. This is what I mean. Well, this is the stuff that makes me crazy when I go in and then the LinkedIn thing doesn't work. All this fussing around. I have to do one thing and then you have to go back and it just makes me nuts. Okay, so behind the scenes, amazing ninja trick to get tons of content done. Okay. Let's do the behind the scenes. Do this capital. The behind the scenes secret of how, oh my gosh, GovCon grows. Oh, I didn't ask that. Oh. Okay, do that. How you can get the top 20 benchmarks for small business growth and vendor contracting. I don't have to put this. You'll know to put it all in caps, right?
I didn't even need the first line to be.
Okay. No more stressing. Let's see what we got. No more stressing. No more guessing on bids. Simple. Get the tactics. Get the strategies you need to win your next.
That's where they've converted a tank into a lawnmower outside.
Well, strategies. Today, I'm surprised you don't hear a snowblower. It's so cold here. Okay, and then it should be good enough. Let's go here. Thank you page. Amazing. Special offer. Limited. Read. How do I say read the chapter? After you have read, what's it called? Hold on. What do we know what the name of her book is called in the chapter? Do we have that?
I just have as the GovCon business model.
No. 1 second.
I didn't read it.
No, of course. I just mean I didn't know if it was in the title of Jenny. Ah, shoot. Jenny. Names, please. What is the official?
Hold on, before you send that, I do have the PDF, so let me just.
Oh.
It's all about the GovCon small business growth model, so that's what we have it named as.
Okay, I'll just ask her.
Okay.
gonna go here. Okay. Okay, let me spell out here. How do we do this? What we're saying is after they've read the chapter, they can contact her for a free consult.
I mean, I don't think that should be in the thank you page because no one would remember it.
Oh.
So if anything, that would be a follow-up, like
Okay.
a week after if they finish reading the chapter or something like that.
Okay. But they may not read it. Like I go back and forth on that one. I think strike while the iron's hot. I hear what you're saying. I think they could have a reminder, but here's her argument. They don't, if you have to remind them for that, then she doesn't want to, like, she wants people that are action takers, right?
Oh, okay.
So I think it should go in the thank you page because then it shows them like, oh my God, if I got it, I read it, I called her in 2 days. That's the people she wants to work with.
Okay.
Okay. After you've read the chapter I wrote and then remember for a limited time only, we are gifting a free, I am gifting a free consult. Email me after you have completed the chapter. Okay. So I'll just wait to hear back from what it's officially called and what email she wants.
Okay.
Okay. But she should get back to me that today. We should be able to move on this.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. I think you're just trying to soothe my ill-tempered. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's already, like, I've already set up, like, a lot of the groundwork for this. So
Okay.
It's really just like a couple lines of updating and stuff. So.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we got that going. All right, we're good there. Okay, I'm just going to start doing my social media. Yeah, and then my LinkedIn banner, is that done?
Yeah, I uploaded it this morning.
Oh, okay, let's just do it together so there's no more surprises. Okay. Oh, you uploaded. Oh, I thought you meant up to Dropbox. Okay, never mind. Perfect.
Is that not okay?
No, thought you meant you uploaded Dropbox, so I had to load it. I was going here, so I didn't get frustrated loading it. I got it. It's up.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You thought soothe the beast, throw her a bone. Fair enough. Yep. Okay.
And yeah, and I also commented in the actual thread or whatever that's like a prime example. And so, I mean, that's pre the system of Ruby checking these things, although I did, I guess I wasn't like clear with the thing. So, and moving forward, we won't have those mistakes anymore.
That's awesome. Now, as I try to pull myself out of a dark hole, I know we are building things like the processes we have every time I do a podcast, whether they're on my show or I'm on theirs. In our process, we ask them for recommendation. So we're getting social proof we didn't have before. Like I got 86 recommendations now. I mean, like 50 of them are probably from the old days of Shadow Blast, but nobody goes down that far. So in the last, whatever little time, I've gotten 30 or 40 new things. Plus I got all these podcasts that are now I'm going to be like the podcasts I've been on, the podcasts I'm doing, like all these things are building up to, when we get to our next new Win the Hour page, we've got a big thing I never had before was social proof. Mm-hmm. Like that guy said, when you Google me, I come up 3 pages. So eventually at some point that has to turn into money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get on my social media.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, we're still okay to sign up for free.
I think it's in your best interest. Thanks. Bye. Bye. Ah.
Hey, find your team so that you can have the confidence, the clarity, the space so that you can have a bigger impact on your audience and make more money in less time and just attack those dream projects instead of watching them constantly move further and further away. That's what your team is for. And a team can mean like somebody that gives you Friday afternoons back. That was my first experience with the outsourcer for like 15 bucks. All of a sudden, I got like 3 hours back every Friday afternoon. It was crazy. It was just something I was putting off all week and it was building up and there was my Friday afternoons back. It changed my life. That was my first outsourcer and it cost me like 12 bucks, I think, every second week or something. Anyhow, check out Coming Soon from Chris.com. Coming Soon from Chris, KRIS.com. We got all kinds of goodies to show you how to build your business by building your team.
I just think that your business should support your life and not consume it, Dash. And I am so eager to create a movement where this idea of grinding it out is understood as something that's very, very old school. Right. Thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate that, Dash. I am so passionate about business should be fun. If you check out my coming soon page, Dash, I think you'll be really impressed with all that's going to be included in my outsourcing playbook for busy entrepreneurs. It's worth at least taking a peek, LOL. Oh, I am super excited. Right now, we are getting ready to launch our Thank you so much, Dash. I really appreciate your support and kindness. I can do one better. Dash, I can help you build your own team.
Hey love, how are you? I just wanted to personally reach out and introduce myself and welcome you to my little community. I'm just on a walk right now with my boyfriend and my dog, so it might be a little bit crazy and loud in the background. But yeah, I just wanted to reach out and personally introduce myself and see if you wanted a copy of my latest free resource that I made. It's called the Six Figure Mindset. And it's a e-guide that I created about how to step into your six-figure self. And I've just heard from my clients over and over again about how impactful it is, how amazing it is. And as a special little gift for joining my community, I thought I would see if you would like a copy. So let me know. Otherwise, welcome. And I'm so excited to get to know you better. Hey.
Hey, I thought I would say hi back the same way. I'm not walking a dog, but I thought I would jump in here really quickly and say, pleasure to meet you. You're awesome. I love how you just stop what you're doing and message it out instead of getting caught up in the day. Right now, I am super amped. We are launching our first ever product. I mean, I have a platform, I've written a book, done a bunch of things in the business about 12 years now, where we're launching our outsourcing playbook for busy entrepreneurs. So I think your stuff sounds great. It's not where I'm at right now, but if I think of anyone that could use it, I will definitely let them know. And thanks for reaching out. You inspired me to send you a quick little video.
Hey, good morning. It's a beautiful morning in Spokane, Washington, and a beautiful day for us to connect. So I want to give you my number so we can text. Just text me at 509-245-2670 and put your info in my phone, and that way we can text one another. And I can't wait to start connecting with you personally. Do it.
I am.
We want what you want. It's not a mystery. Oh, hey there. How would you like to become the king of your
my little face.
Hey,
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm really sorry that I hadn't called in a while. I kept having stuff and I kept forgetting.
Yeah, life happens. Just set a timer. I like your persistence. I like that you're here. Yeah, I know. I miss you guys.
I missed you too, Bips.
Yeah, I know. And this whole, we don't even have our travel sorted out yet because of Quebec and Ontario both are
Yeah.
still with, but that's okay. It's a long summer ahead of us. I'm just going to manifest that everything works out. We've always done well. This too shall.
Everything will work out.
Yeah, there you go.
The universe believes in us.
It does. It got me and you together on opening day of Rocky. That was an accomplishment.
I know.
Yeah. I will still never forget that, Jacob. I was just sitting here at night watching TV. And then when it comes on, I was like, I knocked the phone over trying to call you. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
One sec, that's yeah, that's in. Never mind.
hold on, I want to see if my earbuds going. Here we go. So what's all happening there?
Oh, I switched the camera.
You did. I got my hair cut first time in 3 months because the hairdresser's
I know.
before.
It was a lot different from the last time I called you.
Standing straight off like a chicken. Yeah. You got a whole Justin Bieber thing happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah, start going,
My
baby,
hair's all
baby,
flingy.
baby. So how is this virtual school going? Hold on, you're moving the camera.
I mean, it's going good. Sorry.
You're moving the camera, sorry.
Here, you know what? I'll prop you up on my computer.
Okay. Ooh. How's the virtual how's the virtual school going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the times, some of the classes are canceled.
How come?
But just because they don't do it, like now they only do them like twice a week, like each class. It's weird. But yeah. But anyways, it works. And still being assigned homework from all the classes.
They show up enough time to give you homework. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Wow. And the text you sent me the other night was like crazy in the middle of the night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, I know. But for me, it was
12?
12 o'clock,
Which is
which
still
was still pretty late.
for a school night. But I guess
But
like
that's the thing, it's barely a school night because first of all, I get to wake up a lot later,
yeah.
and second of all, most of the time, first class isn't even going. Like today, I didn't even have the first period or second period.
Yeah. 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 There's just no reason to get up if there's no reason to get up.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's the thing. They don't email you in advance to tell you if there's a class the next day. They do it like 30 minutes before the class is. So how am I supposed to know? Like, for example, tomorrow morning, how am I supposed to know if I should wake up at 9:30 to do my class, or if there's not even going to be a class, I can wake up a bit later and stay up a bit later.
Well, I think the secret is it's hard to imagine when you're a kid, you expect grown-ups to act like grown-ups. But what they're doing is just doing enough to get by. So what they're doing is so that they can report to their bosses, oh yeah, we're having classes. But then at the last minute, oh, my shoelace broke. Oh, do I have a cough? Like they're just tall. Sometimes here's the secret of life, Jacob. Lots of times grown-ups are just older kids. That's all they are.
That's the thing I was about to say. So what you're saying is grown-ups are just kids.
Just
but
older.
they're a few feet higher.
That's it. They're just older. Sometimes they're not even taller. They're just older. When you're like you and Rain and you're smart and you're responsible and you're all those things, you're like that now, you'll be like that later. But there's lots of people that are just older kids. That's all. Right? They can't cancel on you now because then they've got a boss saying, what do you mean? How did you know you're going to be sick tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Right? So they have to do it last minute and hope that nobody catches. That's the dealio. Yeah. Well, you're running out of time anyhow. You only got a couple more weeks left of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
January 23rd, I'm off the hook. Summer.
June. You said January.
I said June. Yeah, January.
I was like, whoa. Whoa.
June.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So really,
January.
yeah. So really, what are they going to teach? Like, they're not all into this for they're looking at their summertime door as well. Like, when do I have to stop? Why do these kids keep bothering me? That's what they're thinking, right? We had crazy weather here for like 4 or 5 days. It was summer, and now today it's winter.
Well, last week it was very summer, very hot. Oh, you want something funny? I just got interrupted by an alarm that I set to call you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So,
But anyways, yeah. Last week at my dad's, it was really hot. It was very, very summer. This week it's a bit cooler, and
Yeah.
sometimes I have to close my window because it's a bit chilly.
so where I know you're a good sweater wearer. So where is the family at? Is your dad back to work yet?
Yeah, but he's on the day shift now, actually.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's like not an amazing shift. It's 7 to 7, but it's still way better than night shift.
Yeah. But then does he get longer weekends?
He still does.
Like, does he get like extra day because he did 7 to 7?
Well, I'm not fully sure, but I know that he like works on Saturday, but then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is his weekend.
Oh yeah. He used to have that when you were a baby, and we loved it because then he could come for the long weekends with you. So
Yeah.
he would come. He worked Friday, and he got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. So he would come, and you guys would land like Friday at midnight, and then he wouldn't have to leave to Tuesday. We just loved it. Yeah, that was horrible when you started school and he switched jobs. It really ruined my social life because you guys would come all the time, and I'm like, what do you mean he's going to school? What do you mean you're switching jobs? It was it was a real inconvenience for Pips. Well, that's exciting. Well, I'm glad he's off midnights.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right now I'm I forget if you told me this or if I'm just making things up in my mind, but you watched The Good Place, right?
No, it's on my list. Your dad keeps telling me I would like it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's very. I feel like of the shows we don't fully have like a lot of common interest show wise. We do have a few like
Yeah.
Friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like The Good Place you'd really like.
Oh, good.
I think
Okay.
that'd be
Okay.
totally up your alley.
Do you know what you'd surprisingly like? I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. It's called Drive to Survive. It's about Formula One. Doesn't sound interesting. I encourage you to check out 15 minutes of the first show. You'll be like, oh my
But
gosh.
you told us about it.
Yeah, but you gotta check it out. It's totally different. So it's really interesting. I think I had no interest in car racing whatsoever, and I found this really super interesting.
Hook me on it.
Yeah, check it out. The
Awesome.
Drive to Survive, Formula One. Yeah. So are you getting to see any of your friends or anything?
Through video chat,
Oh.
not face to face.
So what's the climate there now? Here things have
Right
just
now,
yeah. Like
right now it's like cool summer.
no, I mean like things have just started to open. The restaurants just started to open up here. I haven't been watching the news. So where are you guys at in the scheme of being paranoid and the sky's falling?
Well, things have been slowly starting to open up more. Like for example, the park
Okay.
has just opened up. It's allowed, but yeah, things are still pretty locked down.
Wow.
But things are slowly opening.
Can you imagine? I went from PEI to Ontario, San Diego to Vegas, to Ontario to Quebec, back to PEI in like 8 days. They would have shot me. Like I just got back. I was back a week, and then things started to get dicey. And then they're saying, "Oh, you should self-isolate." I'm like, "Well, I've been home a week. They didn't have that rule when I landed." Like, look at all the places I went. And me and Uncle Mike were at a Chinese restaurant the night before I came back. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like okay, so I'm back and I brought you a few stuff. We've got like coronavirus from over there. We got this from over there.
I went so many places. So many places. I just lucky I got my ass home. Lucky they let me back in. Well, that's crazy. So what do you? Hey,
You know what?
What?
You should have stayed a little bit longer for Quebec, and then they wouldn't let you back.
don't you
stay here?
think Rain and I haven't talked about that? Listen, you still haven't got me a gift for Sean. Does that thing he has with the eye thing, does that need new games?
I was about to say, you could try to get him like, let's say, a gift card or something, but for his VR thing, so he can get a new game
And
on that.
where do I get, is it a gift card like EB Games or is it a gift card like Amazon?
I'm not really fully sure how it works. I don't even know if they have their own gift card. Here, I'll search it up right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn my camera off.
Okay.
I'm gonna search up if they have the VR gift cards.
Do you have your cat as your profile picture?
I do.
That's funny. He looks so annoyed.
Well, that's what you get when you try to photograph a cat.
Yeah. Listen, me and that cat fought over an open window one night, and I'm here to tell you I lost.
Yeah, not sure, but that's nice. So you could always just give him like a prepaid credit card or something, but then like force him to use it for his game.
That's true.
Because there's not really a way to gift someone a game, or there's not really any gift cards for the such. But
So is it within the realm of possibility if I sent him an EB Games card that he could get something from EB Games for that thing he's got?
well, no, because EV games, that's the thing, it's a VR thing. So all the games you have to get on the VR.
Oh, it's kind of like,
It's not like cartridges or DS or something.
I see, I see. So it's kind of like maybe like Netflix or buying it. You have to have an account and you buy your own stuff in your own account.
Yeah.
I see, I see. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll just give him an EB Games thing or something.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I just went through my my desk and I like found all my credit cards that I've never, all my gift cards that I've never used.
Oh, really?
I found 3 EV Games ones, and I'm sure probably 2 out of 3 of which came from you.
Oh. Wow. Wow. And you haven't spent them? You know what I used to do because I'm a bad human being?
But
Is Uncle Mike always lost those things. So people would give him a whole bunch of stuff at Christmas and stuff, right? And then he would just, he'd get all discouraged that the stores weren't open Christmas Day. He didn't understand. Why would the stores not be open Christmas Day? So by Boxing Day, he had lost his card, left it here, forgot it. So I would go around collecting it and he'd forget about it. So then like we'd be walking in the mall a month later and he'd say, I really like that. I'm like, I'll buy that for you, bud. He'd be like, really? I'm like, yes. But I was using his money. If you're stupid enough to drop the cards, then I will take you out and I will shop with you and I will look like the hero. So that was my routine.
yeah.
He was so disorganized, it worked to my advantage.
You know what sucks though? I just found like a bunch of games I want to buy on my Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And then I go on it and I'm about to use one of those like prepaid MasterCards. And then I go on it and it's like, yeah, for today we're testing new things on the server, so you can't use any prepaid credit cards.
You have to be careful with those prepaid credit cards too because they're not gift cards. So what happens is if you leave it for a year, they take an amount off, like let's say $3 every month. They can deduct from the credit card, not like a gift card. So when somebody gives you a credit card, you have to use it right away. And they deduct money if you call the 1-800 number. They're very sneaky. I don't like them at all. So yeah. So if I
Use them as quick as I can.
yeah, if somebody gives you a credit card, don't put it in a drawer and think I'll use it later because it will shrink. That's what shrinking looks like in case you don't know. Gary, I'll help you with your virtual schooling. Shrinking, expanding. I'm here to help you. Yeah.
This is exploding and
Yeah.
imploding.
Yeah. There you go. So are you bored yet?
Kind of. I found ways to keep busy, like TV and video games and TV
Video games and video games
and
and
the
TV.
occasional school
Yeah.
and video games.
Wow. So what happens to Hudson? Is he home all day?
Yeah, yeah, he has been, and he was a handful, but now he's learned to be a little bit more independent.
That's good. And is your mom back to work yet?
Yeah, she's been working from home for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
She
Yeah.
has her old. She has in my room. She uses a big setup on my desk.
Okay. Well, that's
a
cool.
Computer and stuff,
Right.
which is why I'm in her room now.
Right. So, but not everybody's back to work in the office space yet.
No.
Interesting. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time, I tell you. Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. So you haven't seen any of your friends since you left school? You haven't seen JJ?
No, not face to face.
Wow. That's crazy. Crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
heavens. Wow. Is your pool open yet? I just got my hair cut.
Yeah, I know.
Is your pool open yet?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it still has a bit of dirt and leaves and stuff, but it's fully fine to go in. I took a swim a few times last week,
Wow.
but should be all good next week. I'm there, all
Wow.
clean and fresh and ready.
I don't know if it's because I miss you, but your face seems to be getting cuter. Are you getting cuter?
Yes,
That's possible.
how
That's how I
It's like-
roll.
my body ages up, but my face ages down.
Oh, sit down. This is up.
Yeah, I must have been pretty weird as a baby. Just a little baby body that looked like a big fat leaf.
You did. No, you know what? You really did have you really truly looked like a 2-year-old boy the day you were born. Like you had dimples and you had full hair and you had neck muscles. Like you were if I had not been there, I wouldn't have believed it. Like they were holding you and you leaned back to see like, oh, is this where I landed? But babies,
This is the land of the living.
yeah, but babies can't use their neck muscles for like
Yeah,
weeks,
I know.
weeks
That's
and
why
weeks.
you cradle their head.
Yes. And you leaned back and looked at stuff like, what's he doing over there? Right? It was and you did look like a little 2-year-old boy. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just the most shocking thing I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. You didn't look like a baby. And Rain looked like a big old solid sumo wrestler. She just was big and solid. Yeah. And she looked perturbed. What? I did not like that ride down the birth canal. I had no fun. She looked so annoyed. Yeah. She was mucho annoyed.
A clump of
Yeah.
annoyed,
Yeah.
adorable.
You were all stretched out. Like, if you had gotten up and walked away, it would not have shocked us because you just looked so funny. It was hilarious. Oh my heavens. I must tell you. It was a unique experience. I don't know, something else. Wow. And
Yep.
this year you're going to be 15. That is nuts, nuts, nuts. I was
Cuckoo crazy.
15 once. It was nuts.
It's funny. Your camera cut out for a second,
Yeah.
but when you came back, you were at the end of saying nuts, and it was like this, but your face was all. So I just cut back. It's like you.
Oh, thanks. Yes, lots of pretty pictures of me. There's all kinds of ugly out there. Wow. So that's it. You just play. So what video games are you getting really good at now?
Well, I have been replaying Subnautica, which is a survival game, and you're trapped in an alien ocean planet, and you have to survive
Wow.
cooking fish and finding alien research facilities.
Is it kind of like SimCity?
No.
Okay.
It's more survival and yeah, and it's all alien world, so there's not really cities. There's 2 islands in the whole game. That's the only dry land
Are there any video games where there's no movement?
where there's no movement.
Yeah.
I could probably.
Pac-Man. Like, it's the whole spinning of the room. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can do Pac-Man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure. But do you mean movement of the character or movement of the screen?
No, the character can move. when I was younger in bars and somebody talked me into playing this once, and I was like, I don't like video games. And then I gave a quarter, and then 2 hours later they pulled me off. I had an addiction. I think it was called Space something, and so
Space Invaders.
little ship came up and then things were coming at it and you had to shoot it pachoo, 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 and you had to get your ship to go up and then things were coming down to attack you. You're going pachoo, pachoo. But there wasn't all this
Space
swinging,
Invaders.
wasn't all this swinging around a room kind of stuff.
Yeah, Space Invaders is a very famous game.
Oh, it
It's
might
one
have
of
been.
the all-time original greats.
Okay, so I may have played that. I'm not sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. See there, I got I got street cred.
Yeah.
I'm all
It's
that.
like, yeah, I played a video game once.
Yeah, once. Yes. Quite some time ago, but once. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, if they test your hand-eye reflexes in September, you're gonna get a solid A. Yeah. Do you know what they're doing? Back to my race car show, which I swear you will like. There are people who apparently the games are so real now that they have taken some people who are really good at those virtual race car games and then put them in a race car, and they've actually done well because it's your reflexes. And now this year, because there's no race because of everything going on, they're now, instead of having Formula One, they're having the people, the guys, get in video games and have them race and do that instead.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're gonna have virtual video Formula One.
Cool.
I know.
Yeah. That's
I think you're just accusing. I think you're humoring. I think you're humoring me. I don't think you're actually.
I was trying to think of a smart comeback.
Oh,
Saying
yeah.
something like, I'd be a great racer, you know, in this day and age, because I play a lot of video games.
Yeah. I don't think I'd like the 200 miles an hour thing.
Yeah.
Could we have a race car drive where I drive slow? What's that?
It's like, who can drive the slowest?
Yeah. Because they have it, and you'll see it, they have some cameras in the car. And when you see the camera in the car, how fast they go. Oh, anyhow, I want you to check it out. I think you'll be interested. I think it will combine in a way. It's kind of like Star Wars because you're so in the scene and there's so much happening. I think you would find it interesting. Yeah. Oh, so your poor mom has to work with everybody home. Is Keith home too?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know why I said yeah. He gets home. He's working though. Yeah, he usually gets home at like 5 o'clock.
But he's back on the outdoors now.
Yes.
Right. Gotcha. Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you hostage, but it's Tuesday. You can still set your timer for Friday. Get you back on Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might not have a lot more news to talk about, but hey, I will have played a lot more video games.
Maybe I'll have news by Friday. Yeah, you don't know,
Awesome.
right?
Oh, I do have more news though.
Sure. Go ahead.
I started reading
Oh.
Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That looks like
Yeah,
one mother of a
story.
thick book. Is that because the 3 books are in that one?
It's 3 in 1.
Oh. And it's got teeny print, Jacob. That was another show your pops let you watch that you shouldn't have been allowed to watch.
Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even I came home and I'm, what the hell's he watching Lord of the Rings for? And he's like, he was interested in it. I'm like, doesn't mean you get to let him watch whatever he's interested in. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that pops one. Somebody needs to supervise him while he was supervising you.
Yeah. I'm interested in Friday the 13th. Well, you say so.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my heavens. Well, that is one mother of a book. Do you think you're gonna be able to stick with it?
Yeah. I'll
All
get interested.
right. Wow, you're awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, set your timer for Friday.
It is always set.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
phone is just sometimes dead when
Oh, I see.
it's 3 o'clock on Fridays.
Is that what your excuse is? That's a good plan. All right. All right. Well, I love you so much. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you guys, and we'll keep manifesting positive stuff so we sort out our summer.
Yes, for
All
sure.
right. All right. I love you, big bud. All right.
Love you.
Love you. Torch glows.
Lord knows.
Bye, sweetie.
You might.
Okay. What's Omar to say? Do it tomorrow.
Hey, find your team so that you can have the hey,
Hey, Deborah, I'm so glad we connected. Looks like you've got some really exciting stuff happening and some important work that you're doing. Heavens. Looking at your stuff, you might actually really like my podcast. It's called Win the Hour, Win the Day. And we just have general stuff on it, business type things I think would be right up your alley. I hear it every day, though. People keep telling me it's conversational, engaging, and they get a lot of takeaways from it. So if you're interested, I'll send you the link. But I am super glad that we connected and keep up the great work. Well, that was interesting. I don't know where my head was.